Well, welcome. This is part of an ongoing series called Life at All Saints, Living in Faith Every Day. And today we're delighted to have Janet Lasten with us to talk more about stewardship, to talk about the giving not specifically of finances, but of time and gifts and talents. So, Janet, thank you for being on camera and being willing to tell why you give of your time and gifts at All Saints and all that you do.
Okay.
So thank you. I'd like to just begin with that typical question that I've been asking of how long have you been a member at All Saints?
Since 1987, so over 30 years now. So.
Okay, good. Well, then I'd like just to ask you about some of the ways that you serve at All Saints, the many ways that you give of your time and gifts, and the many things that you do to participate in the life of All Saints.
Well, in addition to the financial support, which is kind of the natural thing, comes to mind, welcome table. I help with that just about every month lately, and caring ministry. I write cards, deliver food, cook food. I love to cook. Usher, I'm a lay reader. I think people have seen me on camera in Zoom lately. And when we could, we had worship services at the memory unit at Laurel's, the Laurel's memory unit, and would go there and have a church service once a month. So we'll be happy to get back to that at some point in time. And I recently joined the chancel choir.
Okay, so, I've seen you, well, and of course, I see you in the building a lot, and which is why I wanted to speak to you in this series. So yeah, tell me, let's then expand on that a little bit. You've been very active, and you've seen some things kind of had to adjust in the pandemic. Has it felt like you've been able to stay involved even in the pandemic?
Very much so. In fact, I hope the Zoom continues, because like if I'm away or if I'm traveling or on holiday or whatever, then I can attend church while I'm away.
And you can even participate in the choir now
as well.
Way.
Yeah, because we had the Zooming on the choir, and we had George had a study on Bonhoeffer, and we had that. We did that all by Zoom, and it was just a great time. So yeah, I hope we can continue some of that kind of hybrid way of going forward. Yes.
Yeah, well, thank you. And you mentioned that you travel a lot, and I think that's something worth highlighting, that so many people, because of work, sports, maybe health, mobility, aren't able to be in attendance as often as they'd like on a Sunday or in the middle of the week. So yeah, the fact that we offer those Zoom classes and choir opportunities and all that, the pandemic, if it does have a silver lining, is it's necessitated that online component.
That's
so
right.
I'm glad that you pointed that out, and that you're taking advantage of it.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And sometimes if something kind of strikes your mind, you may want to go back and take another look and replay it. I've done that a number of times.
Oh, wonderful. So let me ask you then, how does this giving of time and service, what does it do for your faith? How does it strengthen and deepen your faith in God?
Well, whether I'm reading the scriptures during worship, or when I sit down to write a card, I do some hospice work. So when I sit beside a patient, giving blood, if I deliver stuff to the food pantry, and I do that about every week now. Since the pandemic, I do go every week. Or if I'm listening to a neighbor who's hurting maybe a little, and pack a box for a Christmas child too, which is coming up pretty soon. I think it strengthens my faith in knowing that God's love is made known through that. As I'm doing that, I'm hoping that it shines through some way, and that sharing of the gifts and the resources that He's given me, that's what it just buoys me up, I guess, in a way. And there's a kind of a joy in knowing that even those small things that you do might help illuminate illuminate somebody's dark world out there and bring a little happiness to them. But that brings happiness to me too. At the same time, yeah.
There is a song that I love by a band called Audio Adrenaline, and the kids at VBS did the Get Down song by that same band. But the song I'm thinking of is Hands and Feet, and it talks about being the hands and feet of Jesus. That's part of how God works with humanity, is utilizing us. Though we may be flawed, though we may not have all the answers to the theological depths of life, we can still, like you said, illuminate somebody's world and be God's hands and feet to them. So that's beautiful.
It's a calling. It's really is a calling. Like when I went into the hospice work, one of the questions during the interview was, "Why are you doing this?" And I said, particularly after my husband's passing, and I lost 2 parents and a nephew to suicide during a very short period of time, and it was like a calling for me to support that program.
So you've spoken a lot about a lot of what you give your time and talent to, and how it does kind of buoy your faith, lift it up, illuminate people's dark lives. If you were to encourage someone else to give back, to the church, to their community, why do you think that's important? Why do you think that's an important aspect of faith?
Oh, simply so others can see God. I mean, it's giving back honors God. It honors our Lord. When we were talking about the question, I was thinking, how am I going to answer that? But it just kept coming back that it was simply just making God known. And I think, our Lord Jesus reached out to help people and serve people. And what better mentor do we have, or what better model do we have to be able to serve? We're called to be imitators of Christ, and this is a way to do it. So to weave our faith into our daily life, living that faith is the very fabric of each day of my life. So that's how I start in the morning. So when we open ourselves to Jesus, I think, and we work together with him, and we learned this while we were being disciples, while we were talking about Bonhoeffer in the class that I mentioned before. We become disciples, and we work together with him, and golly, you can expect a lot of miracles that way, so.
That's profound. Thank you. Yeah, being the hands and feet of Christ, being illuminating people's lives in a dark world. Yeah, it does. It lifts our own faith. It honors God, as you said. So thank you. Janet, we'll conclude with that. I want to thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Do you have any final thoughts you'd like to add?
I'm just privileged to be here today and share this with you with the congregation as well.
We are blessed by all that you do for All Saints, so thank you.